Good morning, good morning, good morning. Nice to see you, friends. Let me just fiddle with my settings a little bit because my screen is mirrored anyway. I'll just get used to it like that. Means I can see everything sort of flipped. All right, nice to see you. Welcome wherever you are, however you are. I'm glad you're here. Nice to have some time together to sit. I see you checking in with your various greetings and locations and weather reports. So, yeah, it seems like much of Northern Europe is rainy this morning, and that most of Southern Europe is sunny. Certainly, it's cool here. It's like 6 or 7 degrees only this morning, but very beautiful, clear light, and the mist rising off the pond outside my window there. And maybe as it warms up, the frogs might start to sing a little bit. They've definitely woken up for the springtime. Yeah, it's been a few weeks since I've been here for these morning meditations. I know you've been in good hands with other friends leading the mornings. So mostly just some time to sit. If you're here for the first time, oh, welcome, welcome. Good. I give a few moments of reflections, 5 or 10 minutes. Then we sit in meditation for about half an hour. I'll give a little bit of guidance while we sit. And then there's also some time at the end, 15 minutes or so for questions that you might have, if there's anything you want to explore about your practice. I thought this week what I would do is explore each morning one or other kind of common misunderstanding that people have of meditation. Some idea of what they think, what we tend to think meditation should be like, and the way that's sort of a slight distortion of things and ends up not being so helpful. Okay, so I'll just explore one of those each morning. And today I thought I'd explore it in terms of focus. There's a Pali term which you may or may not have ever heard. The Pali term is ekagata. Ekagata, which translated means one-pointedness. One-pointedness. And whether or not you've heard the term, you've probably, at some point at least in your practice, gotten some sense that you're trying to be one-pointed. So even if the instruction is just to focus on the breathing, right? To be mindfulness of breathing or awareness in the breathing. We tend to it's like we're trying to focus the attention to make it one-pointed, as if all our attention is going to one point, just feeling the breath. And the assumption we easily have there is that everything else should disappear. The sounds, the thoughts, right? Even the sensations. And that's backed up by the fact that sometimes that there can be a kind of absorption where everything, like just bodily, the sort of gross level of sensations just really relax and settle and quiet and thin out, and where everything sort of just becomes diffuse, and the object of our attention is really absorbs our attention. Right? That can happen sometimes, but it's generally not helpful to try to make that happen. What's much more helpful as an understanding of ekagata is at one point is that the one point be very large and inclusive. In other words, rather than trying to squeeze our attention into one thing called the breath or whatever, we're rather letting our attention be wide enough so that everything is part of the ekagata. Everything is part of the one taste, the one point, the one location. And what is with this one location? It's presence, basically. It's here, here. Breathing is here. Body is here. Sounds are happening here. So we have that sense that the field of our awareness, what I sometimes call the chitta sphere, right? Chitta is one of the Pali words for consciousness. That the chitta sphere is like, we are in the one point, ekagata, the one place here. And that our meditation then can be taken as an invitation to settle into the one place where everything is happening. Right? To settle into the ekagata, the one location, the sole location, the only location, the whole location. The one place where every experience you've ever had has happened, where everything that is happening is. It's like that recognition. I'm here. Everything's here. There's nowhere to try to get to. So maybe you can just recognize the difference, right, between the sort of fighting with your mind or fighting with your experience, trying to squeeze your attention into a narrow place, or just this breath, just this point of focus. And the more open, connective, relaxed field where you're already ekagata. You're already in one place. And then the cultivating of this ekagata, or the establishing of this ekagata, is just a question of when we notice that we've started to fabricate ideas and images that pull us away and give us some sense of somewhere else, some other moment, some other place, some other situation. We don't need to come back, really. We don't need to stop that thought. We just realize, even that thought, it's happening here. And we can just keep preferencing the here-ness. Here where thoughts come and go. Here where the sensory organs are interacting, sights and meeting eyes, sounds meeting ears, etc. Here, the ekagata, wherein we can settle our attention into this organic life, this sensory organism, this breathing body. Right? So we're settling into this one spot, rather than trying to create a narrow sense of one-pointed attention. Yeah. Clear? Clearish? Well, let's put it into practice and see. So we'll sit together in meditation, and I'll just give a little orientation to that. And because it's the beginning of the week, and because I haven't been here for a while, I thought we might start with a little chanting. So we won't chant every day. In fact, we'll probably only chant just today, maybe a little bit on Friday as well, to end the week. But I thought we might chant the homage to awakening, homage to Buddha, and also the refuges, the refuge in Buddha, awakeness, refuge in Dharma, the way things are, refuge in Sangha, like our vast kinship with life. So here are the words. If you're not familiar, I'll lead in. You'll just hear my voice, but please join in if you like. And if you're not familiar with the words, don't worry about them too much. Just let the chanting be a chance to relax your throat and chest and belly, to open up the central channel, and the sound and the rhythm and the relaxing into chanting is a really good way into meditation. As you'll notice, if you're not familiar with chanting, notice what it's like, right? The sound and then the silence that follows. And so you might maybe just begin like, just open your throat, relax, a few deep in breaths from your belly maybe, and then on the out breath, open channel. Yeah. Annamayang buddhasa bhagavato bhavaga namo karankarumase. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Annamayang ti saranagamana padang bhanamase. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. So taking a seat, settling into this ekagata, this single location called right here. This location, this field of experience wherein body is felt, wherein sounds happen, wherein thoughts flicker, wherein breathing ebbs and flows. A single location where experience is met. And wherein our practice invites us to sense and settle. To become this ekagata. To be this here-ness. You can still let your attention really penetrate into the feel of sitting here, into the movement of your breath. But without any sense of squeezing or reducing this one field, this ekagata. That sense that no experience needs to be eliminated or excluded. That sense that there's no need to force anything. There's no state to reach for. A sense of already here in this one spot, this single location, this ekagata. In the sense then that everything that's perceived, every sound, every sensation reveals this sense, this here-ness. And that every perception invites us to relax and include it in the field of awareness. Use the relaxation of the out-breath to settle, soften, to relax into being here. And use the natural expansion of the in-breath, as if that expansion is a way of sensing into and through this ekagata, this open field of awareness, this single location where everything's happening. So, expanding in-breath, relaxing out-breath. Moment of stillness between breaths. Practicing like this. Just notice what's happening now, both what's in your experience and what your relationship is to it. Is there a way you're relating to experience as if there's here and there, before and after, inner and outer? And just see if you can soften your perception a little so that whatever's going on right now, it's going on right here, within this field of awareness. Here in this ekagata, that single location. And seeing if you can just relax a little more into this field, so that the sense of subject and object, of experiencer and the experienced, can melt into one another. Softening the sense of distance and difference. Ekagata. One field. Right here. Last moments of the sitting. See if you can let this field of your practice be really wide these last moments. Really open. Really transparent. Breath and body and sound and thought. It's all bubbling, streaming, passing through this ekagata, this field of awareness, this right here-ness. No need to force your attention in any direction. And just recognizing how attention naturally wants to settle. Attention wants to be here, to be open, to be contactful, to meet life where it is. May we all be awake right where we are. May we all be at home and a single location where everything happens. Right here. So nice to sit with you, feeling the warmth of the sun on my face. I'd be interested, Angela, to hear if that was helpful, but also if it, contrasted with that more narrow sense we sometimes have of trying to focus or of being one-pointed. And maybe helpful to recognize that this sense of a much more open sense of what one-pointedness is, a single location that includes all experience, that's much, much more integratable into daily life, rather than the idea of trying to squeeze your attention into a single point like the breath, etc. So you might just really experiment with that through the day. I was just a wider field. Here I am. One spot. Ekagata, single location. So, hi, Elena. If you have questions, you put them in the chat box here, and you just write question in caps. So if you write question, and then I can see the question as distinct from the chat. You can also raise your hand, and then rather than just typing a question, you can come on screen and we can have a little dialogue like that. So before I get into all the questions, just a reminder that this is Sangha Live. It's here for you. There's all this programming that's free and available and hopefully supportive, and that all of that is only made possible by your generosity. So we're very appreciative of the support you offer. We're very, very much reliant on and needful of your support. It's the only thing we have to keep everything going at Sangha Life is the dana that you offer. That's what supports me as the teacher this week and the whole platform, and therefore supports you as well and everybody else that ever might come to practice here. So you can there's a link in the email that you received to the reminder of this session, and it's also, you can just go to sangha.live/donate, and just to thank you in advance for any support you offer. That's, as I say, much appreciated and very needed. Thank you. All right, let's see. I don't see any hands raised, I don't think, but I do see a couple of questions there. Oh, is that a raised hand? Oh no. Yes, Eleanor. Good. Let me just invite you on screen, Eleanor. You'll get an invitation that comes as if it's you're being asked to be a co-host, but don't let that scare you off. And then you should appear. Let's see as that works. You raised your hand. I invited you. Okay. All right. Well, while we're waiting for you to appear, let's just look at some of the other questions. I don't see you. I don't see you. All right. It says you could not accept the invite. All right. Maybe you want to just type your question. I'm not quite sure why that would be. Maybe there's something incompatible in the browser or something. Yasmin says, thank you for today. I keep waking up at 2 a.m. Lots of challenges. Would Ekagata be a practice of creating space for all the thinking and fears and then narrowing in? The problem with 2 a.m., Yasmin, is in the nighttime, the thinking tends to get amplified because it's sort of all you've got, right? In darkness, there's not much sound, there's not much light, and so the thinking seems louder. So you could certainly try that sense of ekagata, which is just expanding. Don't try to narrow in, right? Just expand, so that it's not, rather than just the things I'm thinking about. Oh, there's just the feeling of body lying, and then there's also just the sense of the space around me, and there's actually feeling into the darkness, listening. Maybe there's some street sounds or night sounds or something. Just letting that sense be wider. And if that doesn't work so much, you might want to put on some kind of, those, what are they called? Binaural. There's a sort of binaural sounds. You can get music on Spotify or something that's just like woo, that supports the kind of good brain waves for sleep. And that can also have a sense of, you're just expansive, expanding your attention beyond your poor old thinking. So yeah, you might try with that. Heidi says, I wanted to welcome the rooster's call. Oh, that's interesting. I'm just noticing what you're saying about the noise cancellation, and I'm not quite sure how it works on this platform. I'll have to find out. On Zoom, there's lots you can do with the sound settings, but I'm not sure there is on this platform. I'll find out, because yes, I would like to have the more unfiltered sound. That's partly why, as the weather's gotten warmer, I've moved out here to my little garden shed here, so as to include bird song and frogs when they start singing, etc. Yeah. Okay. Eleanor. Mind kept wanting to be elsewhere. Future projects, breakfast. How uncomfortable. Then I relaxed into it and felt, all I needed to deal with was what was here now in my direct experience. Yeah. My question is, what is the place of future plans in the immediate experience? The place, Eleanor, is mostly just to see them like you did. Oh yeah, future plans. What they're doing, what are they really? They seem so compelling. The story is so compelling, but actually, usually, it's not very necessary. On breakfast, what am I going to do today? And just notice them as future plans, and notice the effect. What are they actually doing to this ekagata, the field? They're giving you a sense of somewhere else, and a sense of a pull to move towards that somewhere else, right? Whereas actually the amount of thinking you probably really need to do, of course you need to consider the future, but probably most of what you need to do for today is already done. I mean, planning wise, and whatever else, it's actually very minimal, the amount of thought. It's like, I need to do that today. When shall I do it? I'll have some time before lunch. Okay. That takes like 2 seconds, right? Maybe sometimes it's a little more tricky than that. So, but just to make that discernment between the important, necessarily helpful thought that goes to the future, and then the indulgence in it, which isn't particularly helpful, isn't necessary, and is more just reinforcing that sense of, I want to be elsewhere. It's a sort of like you're generating agitation. That's most of what our future planning is doing, is generating agitation. Whether it's positively charged, I want to do that, or negatively charged, I'm going to have to do that. So you can mostly sort of give up future planning. It's not someone's idea of, you should only be in the present moment. Of course, mind will move to the future. No problem. Right. But if you feed that going to the future and you get into the planning, if you really notice, what you're doing is you're just feeding agitation. You're just feeding the sense of there being somewhere else. And in truth, there is nowhere else. There is only the ekagata. There's only this location. So it's like, recognize when the necessary or useful amount of planning has happened, and then just drop it. Not drop it as I should stop thinking about that, but drop it as a kind of like, thank you. Because then you get to taste the relief that you said. Right? Then, the relax into all I have to deal with is what's here. And that's always true. That's always true. All we ever need to deal with is what's here, right? Including, and what's here might also include, some concern about past or future, some necessary planning, some buying of train tickets, or whatever it might be. All right. Arena says it was, is the blue tanker. You probably can't see it very well from here, especially in the sunlight. But yes, there's a blue tanker behind me, which is sometimes called a representation of panoramic awareness and single pointed focus, right? That sense that we can, with that essentially awareness is vast, limitless, boundless, all pervasive. And yet that right here is both this kind of fine attention, the way we can give fine attention, just the sensations within one breath. So there's right here and right here, and that those are two dimensions of the same presence. All right, what else? Maria says, it's great, good focusing on all the experience, but for me, focusing on the breath, at least on part of the meditation, helps me get not transported by my thoughts. Yeah. Or at least to realize I have been transported. Yeah. So like I was saying earlier in the meditation, Maria, you can still use a point of focus like breath. You can still really give your attention very wholeheartedly, just absorb into breath, but without trying to force your attention. Right? You can still be present in a way that's precise, fine, intimate, singular, right? But without trying to exclude the rest or force your attention in there. So you're just settling into, softening into the sense of breath. Yeah. I always have the whole experience of being here in a more diffuse background. Yeah. Another thing, did Buddha not say to practice mindful of breathing? Yes. I don't think anything I said today was in any way speaking against. We were practicing mindfulness of breathing, right? Use the breath to relax into being here. Use the breath to expand into being, the in-breath to expand into being here, right? There's no sense of this being different than mindfulness of breathing. It's just one where I say where we're not being exclusive, or we're not trying to force the attention. So it's actually practicing mindfulness of breathing in the way that is underpinned by a sense of naturalness and relaxation and a sense of allowing. Yeah. Jane, I think you misunderstood. There was no intention to cancel the noises. Rather, there was the intention to prevent the cancelling of noises. Yeah. And then Rivka asks, is the flickering of daydreaming time included in Ekagata? Well, it's a bit like, it's the same as the planning, right? It's not that it's wrong. Daydreaming is natural propensity, right? But if you notice you're daydreaming, then what do? If you support it, then, whatever you feed, that's what grows. So if you go on feeding that, it's so pleasant to just blah, 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 think of that, then that's what grows. I'm not saying that's a wrong thing to do. Sometimes it might be helpful or important, but I would say probably meditation isn't the time for it. What we call daydreaming, just that sense of letting attention be rather soft and open. Sometimes it really helps. We make connections. We get kind of inspiration, or some sudden good idea, or some artistic impulse, some creative movement might come out of that. Wonderful. Yeah. But the more we're established in an open field of here-ness, the more we realize that we can't really go wrong. We can't get lost, because everything is just happening here, including the daydreaming. Daydreaming doesn't really take us away from anything. It just gives the impression of, oh, I was gone, right? What we mean when we say I was gone, what we mean is my attention was absorbed into that object of thought. those images or that story or that memory or that imagination in such a way that I lost touch with the fact that actually everything's here, that I'm here, that it's all here. And the more we become sort of grounded in here-ness, the more that even if some daydreaming is going on, it's like we can sort of track it, give ourselves to it, explore it, but without the feeling of being lost in any way. Okay. How am I doing for time? I've been quite efficient with the questions today. I think it's time for another. Heidi's talking about anxiety. My whole life has been spent in high anxiety, and there are reasons, right? Oh yeah, I'm sure, of course. My mind is aware that I can only reason with here and now, but my body keeps sending fear signals to my brain and triggering me into a place that is afraid to be calm. How to work with this? So, several ways. I can only say a little bit in the time we have, Heidi. But in terms of meditation, just letting yourself a little bit, just a little bit, short moments, right? If you're afraid to be calm, don't try to force your way through that. It's like, so what are you not afraid of? What helps you to have some sense of okayness, right, in meditation? Don't imagine that it should be this or that, or that you should be feeling calm. Are you feeling agitation? What helps you to feel some sense of okayness? And it might be, for example, feel like consciously being very gentle with the anxiety, or having the sense of letting your breath, for example, or your attention be like gentle, loving arms around the anxiety. Like, just breathing in, caring for the anxiety. Breathing out, soothing the anxiety. And then it gets going, yes, but what about, and then, breathing in, embracing anxiety. Breathing out, soothing anxiety. So if anxiety is that which gives us the message, things are not okay, things are not okay. And the sense of just to relax and calm can then feel just unsafe in that way. Like, and then you bounce between trying to relax, then you feel that feels unsafe, and then you get anxious, and then I'm anxious, I should be calm, and then you're bouncing between those unhelpfully. So it's like, don't try to get rid of the anxiety, but see what can you do what gives you a sense of okayness. Maybe, like I say, it's caring for the anxiety. Maybe it's directing your attention away to something simpler. Might be like just the feeling of your legs on the ground. That provides a sense of steadiness or simplicity. And then probably there's some helpful or important exploration of that to do outside of meditation, right? In terms of a more kind of trauma-aware approach, like to the reasons, like you say, whatever those reasons are, that which has formed this pattern of anxiety that makes it feel unsafe for you to relax. Yeah. All right, friends. I think there may have been one or two more. I'll take a little time to read the comments, but let's end together now. End of the hour. I'll put up a sort of ending slide, and that can give you the chance to say goodbye to each other, so that the chat will be open for a few more minutes. Thanks for your practice. Play with this sense of open field as you go through the day. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. All right. Thank you.